People you meet every single day could be divided into two different categories. One who are charismatic, two who are not that charismatic. All you have to understand here is that people who are charismatic always are good with women. Whereas people who are not that charismatic or introverts or not that comfortable if they're put in those, stressful situations are not that good with women. This might seem silly, but it's true. As silly as it sounds, it's true. I don't know if you've noticed this, but have you seen people who are good with women? Not flirtatious, but just in terms of conversations. They're good with women. They don't feel uncomfortable. They don't feel that it's any different than talking to a man, right? It's just a conversation. It's just an exchange of words with a different gender. That's what it is. It's nothing different than that. And people who are charismatic, people who are confident, they take it no more than that. They don't try to exaggerate it. They don't try to do more than what's required. They don't get nervous. They don't do any of that. All right. They're just casual. They're just relaxed when they have a conversation with women. They're not trying to flirt. They're just having a word with them. They just try to, crack jokes or whatever. Chill. When you compare that to people who are not that charismatic, they get uncomfortable. They don't talk to women in a proper way. When they do talk to women, sometimes they try to impress them, all right, which makes the situation awkward, which is what crashes their confidence even more moving forward. Because that conversation didn't go the right way. Why? Because they tried to do more than what was required because they were inexperienced. Now, I'm not trying to say that you're going to be confident from the very first conversation with women, especially when you were an introvert. That's not going to happen. But that's how you learn. The first conversation is going to be awkward. Okay, that's fine. The second conversation, maybe a bit awkward. Fine. Third conversation, mid. Fine. That's how you proceed. That's how you learn. As a result, you're going to be charismatic. Look, what's the difference between being charismatic and not being charismatic? Charismatic people don't get nervous, whereas people who are not that charismatic get nervous for certain situations. Now, when you talk to women, right? When you talk to different women, you try to crack jokes, you try to have a simple conversation. Down the line, eventually, your state of mind is going to be so calm, so relaxed while dealing with certain situations that you wouldn't even believe me. When you get good with women, your confidence level is going to go up, even in situations where there is no women. Your flight response doesn't actually know what's going on. All right, it just knows you're uncomfortable and it just shoots the response. That's what it is. Once you get comfortable with women, no matter what situation, no matter what kind of hurdle, no matter what kind of surprise you're thrown in front of, you will get out of it in the best way possible. If you didn't get nervous, you didn't get panicked, you dealt with the situation in a proper way. And many a times, not being nervous, not being panicked, you're going to get out of that situation even when you don't know much about it because you're relaxed. You're in that moment. You're not trying to get away from the moment. You're trying to deal with it in a proper way. You're paying attention to what's going on, right? You're cautious. You're relaxed and you're cautious. Whereas people who are not that good with women are just going to get panic. Are just going to get nervous. And when you get nervous, things most of the time fuck up. And you don't need that. As an overview, get good with women. Don't flirt, don't come across as a simp, but get good with women in a way that you're able to have a conversation with them in a proper way. You don't make the situation awkward. You just have a conversation with them. Look, this is what I'm trying to say here. All right, everybody's living organism. Let's start from ground up. Everyone who's breathing, who has life, they're no different than you. All right, especially human beings. We're not different from one another. It's just different genders. And you don't have to complicate it. Because this is one thing, this is that one chance you have, which could help you get good at any other situation. Get good with women, get good with anything else. That's how it works. So from tomorrow, I urge everybody that's watching this, just go out there, all right? Have a word with women. Make yourself comfortable in those situations. The first few conversations aren't going to go right, and that's fine. If you haven't had a word with women, from like a long time, it's fine if you don't have a proper conversation, because that's not what we're looking for from the very first, from the get-go. No, we're not looking for that. We're just looking to get better eventually. I'm not trying to tell you to turn into a simp or just, waste your time with women. No. The sole reason we're doing this is to get good at everything else, with having our state of mind in a way that, we're able to deal with any situation in the best way possible. And for you to do that, the only chance you have is to get good with women. Once you get good with women, it's over, dude. It's over. No problem at all. Nobody talks about this, right? Because it seems silly. It seems like it's just some BS. But trust me, it works. Get good with women, and you will notice it yourself that you're good with everything else. In terms of some hard situations you face, some situations where you would have been nervous before, but now after having a word with a couple women, now you're good with that, because that doesn't make you nervous anymore. And my friend, the game's simple. We're here to win, all right? Eventually, we are gonna win, but we gotta make sure our input every single day leads us to our desired outcome. And also, remember, I'm rooting for you, and I want you to win. Do it.